Welcome to Homestead Reptile. Let's go over lineage. Doesn't matter. What is lineage? So lineage is simply the line of animal that you're working with. So with crested geckos, this guy has lineage. I know his parents, and that's about it. So you can go deeper and know the grandparents or the great-great-grandparents. So for this guy, I just know the parents, and that's simple enough. So you can either think of lineage simply as a family tree. So you know their family trees. You know their parents, their grandparents, their cousins, their great cousins, their aunts. That's what it is. You know their entire family or part of their family. So this guy has lineage. All these geckos, except for one, has lineage. I only have one gecko in this group that doesn't have lineage, and I got him because he was just darn right amazing. This guy also has lineage. Does lineage add value to your gecko? Yes and no. So, if, say, this guy came from a pair that had great lineage from a really good, reputable breeder, and he was really cheap, but I imagine if he came from someone who, if he didn't have lineage, he wouldn't have been priced the way he was priced. I mean, he was $100. That's mud. And I would bet if he had no lineage and he just looked the way he looked, he'd probably be a $50 gecko. This guy also has lineage. Now, this guy cost me a lot more, but he's a super hypo red when he's fired up. Unfortunately, he's fired down. He has a lot of spots, tons of red spots. And again, when he's in this half fired up, half fired down stage, those spots are so hard to see on a red gecko. But this guy has lineage, and then the gecko coming up doesn't have lineage. So lineage can add value to a gecko, but it also doesn't necessarily will add value to a gecko. If you have two geckos that have lineage on them, but the gecko is not very impressive and the parents aren't very impressive, the lineage really doesn't matter. They just had an unimpressive baby. Or if they produced like a whoa, amazing baby. I don't know how in the world these two geckos made such a great looking baby. Some people might take that risk, so hopefully that one might produce some amazing looking babies, but if it's not within the lineage, it's not likely to produce it. So lineage can add value to your gecko, but not always. It really depends on what you're going to get. Lineage is really there to basically prove out that 99% of the time, this group of geckos makes this. It's like, say if I had a long line of black phantoms, it's like they always produce black phantoms. You're likely, if you get a gecko from this group, you're going to get black phantoms. That's what lineage is for. But you can take a chance on, especially if you're breeding, on a gecko that doesn't have lineage. So this guy has a lot of big ink spots. He's just such a cool looking dude. And I just love the big ink spots. I love this Dalmatian. He's just a cool looking Dalmatian, and he's only 19 grams. This guy has zero lineage. I have no idea what the parents look like. But I'm going to take a risk on him just because the Dalmatian gene is relatively, it's less complex, I guess, than other things. So I know what he is just from looks. He's an ink spot, possible super Dalmatian. He has a lot of spots for the age he is, and he's likely to spot up more. So he's an ink spot, super Dal, tiger, pinstripe, partial pin, and he has a little white portholing going down, and he is a lovely orangey tangerine gecko. So I know what he is. I know what his parents look like. His parents were likely a tiger, ink spot Dalmatian, with some pinstripes. So this is like an easy one to guess. So when you're working with less complex morphs that don't have a lot of extra stuff added to it, you can take a chance on it. So if this guy was a jet black phantom male and he had no lineage, my God, I'd pick that guy up. If I found like a jet black phantom hanging out anywhere and he was for sale and he was a really good price, I would definitely pick it up because I know the parents were black. I know the parents were both phantoms, and sometimes you can get really great geckos without lineage for a really good price compared to a gecko that had lineage, and that's going to be a higher price. It really depends on your budget, and I am a college person, so I'm in college, vet tech college, and I'm on a budget. So I like to try to budget out my gecko finds and work with also really decent geckos. But I got this gecko for an amazing steal, and I think he is adorable. He's cute, and I'm likely to hold on to this guy. I'm actually going to move out some of my other males I was planning to keep because this guy is just so cool. This guy has actually made me want to move more towards. I was mostly going to work with red Dalmatians. I still am, but I was thinking about working with yellows too, and now I'm thinking more orange because his orange coloration is to die for, and I'm just really loving orange Dalmatian. So this guy has really changed my mind. But lineage, realistically, it's somewhat important, but if you see a gecko that will fit your project and he doesn't have lineage and it's a really great price, you might take a chance on it. Lineage isn't the end all be all for crested geckos. It's nice to have because you know what the parents look like, you know what sometimes you can even know what their siblings look like. And it's really cool to have the lineage for those animals. And it's a lot of fun to like make the family tree. And it's like I know where his grandparents are, and it's just kind of fun to have it. But not necessarily. We're not working with pedigree dogs here that you definitely need lineage to get your animal registered for the AKC. There's no gecko AKC. So lineage is somewhat important, but it's not the end all be all. If you see certain morphs at your local pet shop or your expo and they say they don't have lineage, if it's a phantom, both parents were phantoms. That's a great one to look out for. So if you see anything that looks like a phantom or a bicolor, it's a pure phantom. Where you have to watch out for is like you don't know if something's going to be a het phantom or not. So if you don't want het phantom in your projects at all, you'd really want to try to find geckos that you can have lineage for. If you want to exclude things from your breeding programs, that's why lineage is important. Say, I want to make sure none of my geckos have dowel spots. So I need to go back and look for a breeder that has really good lineage on their animals and make sure none of the grandparents or the siblings have dowel spots. If I'm going to be really anal about it, you have to really look for geckos that do not have dowel spots. But I like Dalmatians, but I don't necessarily like pattern Dalmatians. Even though this guy is a tiger, I'm okay with tiger Dalmatians. To be honest, it's not that bad. I think it's okay. It doesn't bother me, and I do like that pinstriping on him. I think it's kind of neat with the spots. Kind of reminds me of Boba Tea. He might be called Boba Tea. Just had when I was down in New Philly, had this boba tea for the first time, and it was amazing. It was called like the Brave Little Tiger. It was super cute, and I'm kind of leaning towards naming him Boba Tea or Brave Little Tiger. He's a cute little guy. But besides the little tangent I went on, lineage is somewhat important, but it's not the end all be all. Don't get too hung up on it. If you want to get a nice pet, you don't need lineage. If you're working with a breeding project and you happen to find a gecko for a really good price that doesn't have lineage and it will work with your programs, get it. A lot of geckos that don't have lineage are normally cheaper than geckos that have really extensive lineage. And right now, it is a buyer's market. If you can get geckos right now, I really suggest it.